on the main line. Tell them what you want.
Why are you singing?
I thought it would be nice if we did a little praise and worship before the service starts. Get everybody warmed up.
This is not a service.
I know you keep saying that, but if we're going to talk about the Lord on a Sunday morning, I think that we should have a little praise and worship.
No, we don't have to have any praise.
Call them up and tell them what you want.
Okay, how about we call up somebody else? Jesus has already heard us.
He has.
So we can move on. How about
okay, that? All right, that's all right. Okay.
As you can see, we already have a guest in the building. She was here before I even got here, so I'm just gonna roll with it. Just roll with it. Just go ahead and go on, Miss Rosa. Do your thing.
This is the Enjoy Your Morning show this morning. We have Amanda Has Joy with me this morning. And, this is a wall, and this is a floor. This is a microphone. This is my coffee mug, and this is a good morning.
All right. You've been paying attention. Okay, yeah.
I have been doing some exciting things over the weekend.
Oh, tell us. Okay. I guess we're going to have to hear how has your weekend been, Miss Rosa?
Yes, it's been wonderful. We went to go feed the sharks this weekend, and I jumped out of a plane. Yes, I sure enough did. We went parachuting, and we went. I got to go fishing. They showed us how to fish using bait. We was fishing for alligators. That was real nice. It was exciting.
Playing alligators?
I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I just babysat. Listen, I don't understand, when did we get to the point where, we just become these, forever babysitters. They dropping them off with overnight bags now. Yeah. Not just diaper bags. They got clothes, change of clothes and everything else in there now. Yeah. Washcloths and I don't understand this. Because I didn't get this memo. I don't understand it. Y'all out there living your lives, and we just rotting in the rocking chair. Now that's gonna be my next single. Rotting in the rocker.
Rocking in the rocker.
Rotting in the rocker.
Okay.
Rotting in the rocker. Listen, they make songs about anything nowadays, these rappers. I don't know what it is.
Got a point there.
Anything. So I can do my single.
Okay. All right.
That's why I like them verses. When they do the verses with the two singers and they do that. Yeah. That's why I like that, because we're showing these young folk nowadays, what real music used to be,
Real deal. Okay.
I love it. You know what should be the next verses? Uh-oh. It should be Colleen and OBs. Because, it's like a mixer. They don't know who has the best. It's a thing. Who has the best Jamaican food. So it could be 501 versus 291.
Okay.
Yeah, they need to make that happen. Oh, I got my new MySpace page up and running. It's up and running now. # Miss Rosa. #
It's hashtag.
Say that. What's that?
It's not a #. We call it a hashtag.
Oh, no. I'm talking about #. # Miss Rosa. # Enjoy Your Morning.
You said MySpace?
Yes, finally got that up and running. Let's go ahead and get to these announcements. How about that? Because the people need to hear what's going on.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good to me.
So, good morning, everyone. There are a few wonderful organizations that have come together to help to clean up our wonderful city here. This is a wonderful city. And the word on the street, because you know the streets be talking, the word on the streets was that JP was a little late during the cleanup time that the community had set. I don't know what he was doing. You know, JP from CMP Radio.
Yeah.
But he took it upon himself because he didn't want to miss out on this wonderful opportunity.
Yep.
And he took it upon himself to go clean up the ramp going from Curlin Street on to the 95 South entrance. I don't know if y'all saw that ramp before he cleaned it up.
Good God.
That thing, it looked like my kitchen junk drawer. That thing was something. I'm telling you, everything was out there.
Yes, it was. How do I keep getting that? I'm like,
I don't know. That's like the kitchen junk drawer of Chester. That's like our city kitchen junk drawer. I'm telling you, everything was out that thing.
that is true.
It was trash out there, baby diapers, recyclables. Was a dead raccoon out there. Yeah. Containers. Now the containers, I'm not sure if they was from J&S or Showwells, because you know they got the same containers, but they just throw them containers out. But I'm so glad he did that. I'm so glad he did that. So yeah, that's a big ups to JP. We appreciate you, sir. That thing's sparkling now. That thing's sparkling now. Okay, so the government has issued these PEBT food stamp cards for the children who was forced to be home during the pandemic, you know, schooling at home. So they have issued these PEBT cards, you know, to help with the food costs that you have, you know, spent and didn't expect to. So parents, now you can give your babies something other than hot dogs and oodles of the noodles. Listen, you're in your phones all day anyway between the parents and the children. How about you Google some new recipes, and then that way you can, you know, try some new things. They gave y'all plenty. They gave y'all plenty of the stamps. And y'all can, you know, try some new recipes and spend some time together. You know, that'd be something nice. And also, too, I don't want to put this on the father, so I'm just going to say to mothers, if you're going to spend these babies' food stamps on a bunch of crabs and shrimp, now y'all eating lobster. Yeah, they eating lobster now. Listen, can the babies get some? Can the babies get some? Can y'all share it with the babies? Y'all spilling hot butter, garlic, and butter everywhere, and they spilling their hot noodles just trying to get them from the microwave to the table. Y'all not even making the babies noodles no more. They making them themselves. Share the stuff with the babies. Share the stuff with the babies, okay? Parents, we're going to ask that you would govern yourselves accordingly. We got to do better. We had a prayer luncheon last week. I thought it was very successful, but the coordinator thought different. Number one, I'm glad that it was a prayer luncheon because the food was so horrible. I said, I'm definitely going to need prayer after this. Pray for my stomach lining. Oh. Pray for that. But the coordinator, listen, sometimes you got to make sure that you speak clearly. And I didn't have my hearing aid in. So when she had called me and asked me to speak at the prayer luncheon, she said the theme was leave it behind. And I thought she said leave his behind. I thought that's what it was, you know, that we was going to talk about maybe like the women, you know, maybe, you know, trying to get out of relationships that, you know, was a little hard. I had a whole presentation and everything. I had brought my Al Green grits recipe, you know, for those that find it a little hard to, you know, get out those relationships, or maybe, you know, people can't keep their hands to themselves. And it was great. We did make the grits. We ended up eating them for those who couldn't tolerate the food from the luncheon. So they didn't go to waste. But forgive and forget, Alda. Forgive and forget. We're going to forget that. We're going to forget about that. I didn't mean to. We regret to inform you that Marvin is no longer with us.
Okay. Let me guess. Is it the usher that didn't walk on the right foot, or it's the cooking lady who put the raisins in the potato salad? That's what it is, right?
No, he just dead. Yeah, he died. Marvin was 96 years old. He was a great asset to the church, and we're going to go ahead and support. We're going to do his whole funeral. Family don't have to worry about nothing. Nothing. So, Pearl, I know that I said that you were no longer on the kitchen staff because you couldn't cook. But, baby, I'm going to, you know, go ahead and humble myself and ask that you would come back so that you could pour the juice, you know, and that you can roll up the utensils for us. We need you, baby. Give me a call, okay? Harry, I know that I said you were no longer on the usher board because, you know, your breath was stinking. But I got you some mints. I got the good ones that melt right in your mouth. And they're sugar-free. You know, I know you got to watch your sugar. They're sugar-free. So you can pop them as often as you need to. And I'm going to say as often as you need to, baby. But, you know, DM me. DM me so I can, yeah, so I can talk to you about that. I appreciate it, sir, because we're going to need you to usher for the funeral. Janet, I love you, baby. I love you, baby. And I went out and I bought a perfume set with the lotion and the spray all together, all the same scent. I bought that for you, a little gift. And I would just ask if you would come back to the choir to help us with the funeral. I also ordered you a new robe. I ordered you a new robe off the Amazon. They said that it should be here before Saturday. So if you could do that, I really would appreciate you. If you would come back and sing for us at Marvin's funeral. I know he'll be smiling down on you. He'll be smiling down on you from heaven.
Okay.
Yeah, I really wish y'all would come back. I know, Miss Rosa, you know, I just try to keep everything, you know, in decency and in order. You know, but we're going to forgive and forget this week. That's going to be our theme this week.
Oh, forgive and forget.
We're going to forgive and forget.
So do you want them to DM you on MySpace?
On MySpace. I hear a lot about the DM. I don't know what that stands for, but if y'all would do that. If you don't know what that means, ask one of your grandbabies. They know a lot.
Right.
They know a lot. But yeah, I would love for that. Marvin was great.
As I was telling you, I do have another guest, but you were already sitting here when I got here, so thank you.
Oh, no problem. No problem, baby. Because I parked in the pastor's parking spot, so I don't want to get towed.
Who's gonna tow you from the parking?
I'm in the pastor's spot.
Pastor's parking spot.
Y'all pastor. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here because I don't want them to tow me. Okay. And then I gotta pay and take all my Social Security check.
Okay. All right.
So y'all go ahead and enjoy y'all morning.
All right. Thank you, Miss Rosa.
Enjoy y'all morning.
All right. Thank you.
You enjoy your morning too.
You enjoy your morning.
And tell your guests to enjoy her. Oh, she over there. Enjoy your morning too, baby. You enjoy your morning. Is that all right? That's all right.
Thank you, Miss Rosa. What? You gotta get up, Miss.
Okay. All right, baby. Enjoy your morning.
Stacy, come on over.
Good morning.
Good morning, Stacy. I'm good. Woo! Again, you know, I apologize for our I can't even call her our guest. She just shows she was here in the chair telling me good morning. But all right, let's get back on track. Let's say hello to the people who are waking up with us and having a good morning. John Schamberger, good morning.
Good morning.
Michelle Sanders, I know you had a good time on your vacay. Good morning, Callista.
Good morning,
our
Callista.
runner.
Yes.
Good morning, Marcy. Good morning to you. And Chawanda said, Happiness Sunday, Christmas in July. I'm going to be preaching on this morning at the Salvation Army, and I will be mentioning some gifts that God has given us. So I am excited to get that reminder. Christmas in July. If you did not know, that is what's going on. Christmas in July. Marcy said, not the grits.
Not the grits.
And John Schamberg said, not Janet. Listen, that's I don't know what we're gonna do with Miss Rosa, but apparently she loves hanging out with y'all. Hey Charles, thank you for tuning in. We are gonna get started. We actually have some good information today. We're gonna be talking about the mind and how we see things, and whew, I got the privilege to take a peek at Stacy's new book that's coming up. Dr. Stacy has a new book coming out. So we're going to actually go through some questions. We got the pre-release, just a little bit. We're going to look into it just for a little bit. So we're going to talk some about that, about the optical illusions and our mindset. Hey, Joy, good morning. And Miss Rosa stole my thunder. I like to remind us that's a wall, that's a door, that's a ceiling, that's the floor, and this is a good morning. What we decree, what we declare, what we believe is what we receive. So we got to make sure that we're speaking that out. Good morning. We're saying what our morning is and what our morning will be. So Dr. Stacy, how are you feeling today?
I am so happy. And you know, I'm always excited when I get a chance to sit down and have a conversation with you. So
we're gonna have some good conversation
Yes,
today, because
yes,
this
yes.
is just things we're thinking, things we're feeling. We don't always understand. We don't always, get it. But today we're gonna talk about some of those things about that. Now, I know that we scheduled this show, and I have had a great time for the month of July. So we are at the end of our month of July. But we will be coming back, so I'll post when we'll be coming back. So just stay tuned. But this month has went so fast,
Yes,
and I have enjoyed the energy that has been coming for the people that I love. Thank you for tuning in and waking up with us. And those who tune in later, it has been a pleasure. So this is our last day for July, but we will be considering doing some other shows in the future. So just keep an eye out on our pages, and we will let you know when we will be coming back for the Enjoy Your Morning show. So let's get this party started. And good morning. Got to keep saying it. Sometimes you got to say it a couple times, especially when you're waking up like, good morning. It ain't clicking yet. So sometimes you got to say it a couple times, get it going. So it is good morning to us, good morning to you. So let's first talk about the meaning of optical illusion, because we getting ready to go into how our mind sees, and Stacy's going to give us a little peek into the book she's writing. And that's just one section of the book. That's not the whole book. That's just a section. I'm just giving y'all a heads up. So when it comes to optical illusions, the definition is something that deceives the eye by appearing to be other than it is. And then it also says an experience of seeming to see something which does not exist or is other than it appears. Optical illusions happen when our brain and eyes try to speak to each other in a simple language, but the interpretation gets a bit mixed up.
Wow.
And my last thought that I read about optical illusion is optical illusions, more appropriately known as visual illusions, involves visual deception. due to the arrangement of images that affect color, the impact of light, sources, and other variables, a wide range of misleading visual effects that can be seen. For some illusions, some people simply are not able to see them. So my question is, does that affect, when people can't see them, does that keep them from seeing other opportunities or other views? But we're going to talk about optical illusions today. So the mindset, how we see. So I just wanted to give you some things that I read up. It's like how we see things may not always be as they appear.
I was thinking, just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not there. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not there.
So let's talk about how, because I've read the part of your book. So listen, I'm excited for the book when it's going to come out. But let's talk about the eyes and the see and how we see and not see and how that whole makeup is.
Yeah, so when I'm still studying the science of the brain and the science of how we see. And the brain is one of the most complex organs in our entire body. But in my study, I learned that our vision is the second most complex organ in our body. Neuroscientists are still trying to understand how it works. So in the midst, I started studying vision maybe about 3 years ago when I was trying to figure out, why do we see the way we see? Like, why do we think the way we think based on how we see a thing? And of course, it originated from law enforcement and when people said, well, how come police officers say they see a gun when it's a phone? Or how come they see minorities a certain way? And I kept hearing that question, and then I started saying, well, why do I see anything the way I see it? And so as a result of me seeing that, or asking the right question, everything that we do, I promise, if you ask the right question, it'll lead you to get the answer that you need. So I said, why do I see the way I see? And as I started examining the eyes, or looking into what scientists have discovered, like, we have 500 cones in our eyes. Like, all we think about is this eyeball, but we have 500 cones in our eyes that allows us to see color. And if one of those cones are destroyed or have an issue with it, then we won't be able to see color, right? And that contributes to people being colorblind. But it can be one cone off. Not only that, to learn that our vision is upside down in our head. Like, we actually see upside down. And the fact that our optic nerve, the main optic nerve that causes us to see what we see, is in the back of our head. So the whole sensory is located in the back, and it works its way up. And when we talk about optical illusion, it has to go through our brain. It has to process through our brain in order for us to see what we see. So we don't see with our eyes, we see with our brain. And that's how we make sense of everything. So that's why I said, just because we don't see it doesn't mean that it's not there. And what we're really getting to the bottom of is how we see ourselves. Everything comes back to us, how we see ourselves. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there.
Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. And the thing, I know we always have a good conversation. Hey, brother Everest.
Good morning, Everlast. Good morning.
Everlast,
Yes,
all right.
yes.
He
Yes.
said, hey, Stacy, good morning.
Good
So we have to understand that our mind takes snapshots. Because guess what? When you blink, you're not seeing nothing. So there is a few seconds that you're not actually seeing anything of the image that's in front of you every time you blink. So our mind is taking snapshots of what's going on around us. And then we're taking that image, processing it. But guess what? During the process, we have some other things that are intertwined with that image before it actually get an emotion from it.
And that boils down to our experience with that thing, It's really the knowledge of a thing, because there is sometimes, like, suppose you go to an aquarium and the only thing you've ever really come in contact with is fish that was in a home. But now you get a chance to see like an octopus or fish that are, you never knew that a goldfish can get as big as it does. And you're in awe because you're seeing this illusion for the first time, and your brain is processing it because it's new information. How you receive that particular visual that you see in front of you is that experience. You're going to take that experience away from you. So suppose you see an octopus for the first time and you think that's the grossest thing. Does it make it gross? It doesn't mean it's gross. It's how you see it for the first time, how you experience it in the moment. So how we see things is based on the external stimuli. That means that it's outside of us. And then it transfers inside. Then our brain begins to make sense out of it based on really our feelings, how we see it, how we feel it with our body, right? Our nervous system connected to it, our internal system, our entire system comes in contact with it in a millisecond. We form an opinion about it, then it becomes a thing, and that's our illusion of that thing. Doesn't make it right. You can say, man, that's the coolest thing. I'll be like, that is so disgusting.
Trash.
That is so disgusting. But it's how we view it.
Yes.
But it's how we process it. And it's everything. And that's why what it boils down to, what we're really talking about is how we see ourselves. So I can see people, you know me, I'm always trying to get people to see you are more than what you think. So you are not who you think you are, but you are what you think. What you see is not even the bulk of what you become. I don't care how old you are, there's still more in there that we haven't tapped into. So when you think about optical illusions, when we see a tree, it's just a tree. But somebody saw a tree and was like, man, maybe we can cut that down and make a seat out of it. And they just sat on a stump. Somebody else said, Dag, how about we carve it and make it what they call a chair? Somebody else has said, well, how about we trim it down and make paper out of it so we can write on it? And somebody else said, well, you know what, we can use that for our currency and make money. And somebody was like, man, I see shelter in it, right? How about we build a house? Somebody was like, oh man, how about we build like anything you can think of, we can use that for wood, you know, to heat our houses, right? Or cook food on top of. So somebody was able to see it. That was their optical illusion of that particular thing. Same thing with people. I can see a person and say, man, based on the conversation, I'm telling you, this is what I see in you. And based on our conversation, they can say, no, I don't think I can do it. But it's there. It's what you see.
Exactly. We have our brother Charles on, and I'm sure at some point in time he looked at that Memorial Park and he saw a football field. And now he got kids of all ages running up and down that field because of what he saw.
Wow.
But it had to be with something in him that he enjoyed with kids. He enjoyed with football. So he took what he liked, what was already in him, and then saw an image and said, you know what, we can make this happen here.
Right.
So I like the fact that you're saying that someone looked at a tree and saw a chair, or saw a house, or saw something being made with paper. But that's what business people do all day. They see a building, oh, I can see a restaurant right there, or I can see something else there.
Exactly.
And I was reading, because, you know, I got it when she sent me something, I got to look it up. I got to do my homework. But when I was thinking about the optical illusions, and you hit the thing with the nerve, how someone can see something and it can affect our nervous system, but we can also think about phobias.
Yeah.
Because somebody sees a clown and they spaz. Ow!
Yes.
You like, what the heck is, oh my God, Ronald McDonald is coming over here. And it's not excitement, it's panic, it's fear. Because somewhere after they saw that image, they connected that image with something dreadful, something scary. Somewhere along their line, some clown tortured them. And now they have a phobia. But the thing is, we can't look at that person like, that's just stupid. It's a clown. Stop. You don't know what, we can't, because that's their truth.
That's their truth.
They have a fear.
That's their truth.
And then I was I was actually watching something, and they said there's a nerve that travels, and it has to deal with being nervous. So they're saying one of the things to try to calm your nerves is to breathe, because the nerve actually comes down past your throat and down to your diaphragm. That's why, and I was like, okay, that's why you get butterflies. That's why you get the frog in your throat, because that nerve is traveling. So when you actually start feeling that nervousness, it's picking up everything that's going on in your neck area. You get that frog in your throat get dry, or you feel those butterflies. And I'm like, wow, that is interesting, because everything that we're doing, taking in, affects us in some way or form. And I'm like, just being noted, it affects your throat just because if you get nervous, your stomach when you get nervous. I'm like, this is the movie It. In the movie It makes some people scared of clowns. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that clown nowhere at all. So yeah, I agree with that one, Marcy. So we are gonna actually get into some images.
Let's look at the images.
So as we pull up the image with the cat, I want you to talk about how we see ourselves.
Right.
So we're gonna actually pull up the image and show you guys, and just, Stacy, I want you to elaborate on this and how we talked about the puddle and life and things like that. So let's go ahead, and we're gonna talk about this. So go ahead and just elaborate on this image with the people so we can talk about concepts. So
Can they see it?
Yeah, they're gonna come.
Okay. So, all right. So I always think that this picture with this cat and this tiger is so amazing. Because again, I'll say the same thing I said before. We are not who we think we are, but we are what we think. Who you see yourself in your image is who you become. If that cat saw himself as just a kitten, never growing up to be bold, to be confident, to be the leader of its pack, then no matter how big it gets, it'll always feel inferior. And you said something about the spill yesterday.
Yes.
You said something about the spill.
We was talking about life, because usually, when we thought about, when me and Stacey were talking about the image, we were thinking about the one we see all the time, where the cat is looking in the mirror. A mirror is something that it is built, something that you can put anywhere, something that you move here. But a spill is a spill. Spill is something that there shouldn't be water on that floor. That's just life. That spill represents life. Life happens, but how do you see yourself when life happens? How do you respond to the situation when life happens? How do you see yourself? How do you want other people to see you when life happens? And this is where we find out who we are when life happens. How we respond tells us who we are. And sometimes it's a good thing to say, oh my God, I didn't know, that got on my nerves until now.
Yes.
But what you gonna do about it? So this is why we use this one, because it was a water on the floor where it's not supposed to be, representing things that just happen in life that you can't fix. But even in the midst of that spilled milk, say don't get mad over spilled milk or things like that. I'm still going to see myself as strong. I'm going to still see myself as powerful as I conquer this life situation, because life happens.
And even as we look at that image of water being spilled and things happening in life, only thing we have to do is take it step by step and just clean it up. Mm-hmm. I always say, in every problem, there is opportunity. In every problem, there's a business. And that situation right there is just an opportunity to just clean it up. And what happens? It end up being cleaner than it was prior to. But so with that cat and that tiger image, it just reminds me of when I was a child and how much trauma I was dealing with as a kid based on external stimuli. So I was looking around, just like this cat, it's just a cat. I'm looking around as a kid and I'm watching, everything that's happening in my community, a lot of poverty, a lot of violence, and but I just kept saying, when I get older, I will do this. I'm going to come back and I'm going to help my community. I'm going to help my mother. I'm going to help my family, even though I was in the midst of this spilled area, right? In what appears to be a mess. I saw it and I said, this is what I will do. This is what I will become. It didn't get easier in my childhood because I really didn't have control over, how I ate, where I lived, who I lived with, where I went to school, who lived in that community. But within it all, I still saw myself in that image and said, when I get older, this is what I would be. This is what I will become. And that's the power of this cat, right? And even they say cats don't even like water, right? Cats don't, unless they're drinking it, they don't bathe in it. But this cat, in the midst of that water being there, saw himself as a tiger. He didn't look at it that, we don't deal so much with water in this aspect, but he saw himself as a tiger in the midst of what is uncommon for him. And that's even for us. What do you see? You are not who you think you are, but you are what you think. Yes. If the way you see yourself right now, based on what you want and based on what you don't want, is it true? And the reason why this conversation came about, just briefly, I was reading an article about a young lady who is working for Amazon in New York. And she's currently making like $19.30 an hour. And she was really upset that Jeff Bezos is flying to the moon and he has homeless, or the company has homeless employees. And I'm like, wow. She said, I'm sleeping in my car, he's flying to the moon. So I had to assess the situation. I said, how she sees him is he's an enemy, right? Mm-hmm. He has all this money, he doesn't want to give it to us. So I'm like, okay, let me process this. Because I've been hearing it a lot. People are like, we need more money. These companies are making money and they're not giving us any. The question behind the question, these companies are making money and they're not giving us any, right? Okay, so they employed you and they said, this is how much we'll give you to work here. You said, okay, I'll take it, right? Now, I thought it was amazing personally that Amazon was hiring homeless people. Because she said it's a lot of homeless people that work there. I was like, wow, how many companies would hire someone who doesn't have a residence? I said, man. And then she said, he gives to the homeless. He gives money to the homeless, but it's only for a photo op. I said, wow, he gives to the homeless. Then I looked it up. I said, wow, Amazon hires 13 million people worldwide. Wow. And then they offer medical, they match your 401k by 50%, and they pay for you to go to college. So the thing is, what do you see? You see this man as a billionaire, as opposed to, do I see this man as someone who's providing opportunities? Optical illusion. And I thought that was powerful. How she sees it is based on, her situation. But how can she see it based on her situation? There's two ways to see it from that situation. And so I looked at the rent in New York. It's $2,500 for a one-bedroom apartment. So I said, should we blame the companies that's paying $20 an hour? Or should we blame the realtors that's charging $2,500? How can the companies keep up with the realtors? Because if Amazon paid $50 an hour, then these realtors might charge $3,500 a month. So these companies are trying to provide a resource. I am sharing my money with you by hiring you. Now, 13 million employees worldwide, they can cut that down to 600,000 and have 600,000 people doing 4 times the work or 2 times the work. And people are like, well, they overwork us. But we said, we'll pay you $19 to do this. You said, I'll take it. You said, I'll take it. They told you these are the requirements and this is how much we're going to pay you. Optical illusion. And we also have to understand that we see what we see a lot of times based on the conversations that we have. So if I talk to you and say, I can't believe they're only paying us $19.30 an hour, and you're like, yeah, I can't believe it. But I talk to another person, I'm like, I can't believe they're paying me $19.30 an hour.
Right. When they just came from $10 an hour.
Exactly. Optical illusion. So it really boils down to, do you see what you see.
What you see.
We don't see with our eyes. We see with our brain.
Yes.
We see with our brain.
Valia said, you are what you think you are.
Exactly.
Hey, Miss Probst. Hi, Miss Vicky. Thank you for tuning in. Good morning. We're going to go to our next image because we just want to talk about how our mind works, how we see things. Do we see things the way we are supposed to see them? Are we seeing them with a bias? Are we seeing them accurately? And we got to understand that our truth comes through the way we see things. If we have a fear of clowns, that's the way you see the clown. When so another little kid is like, yes, Dumbo's in the house, and the other one's like, no,
Get that
Dumbo's
thing
in the
away
house.
from me.
So
Yes.
it's your perception. Our perception may not be someone else's perception. So this one, it kind of shook me for a minute. What do you see? What do you see first? What do you see at all? Do you only see one thing? Do you see more than one thing?
Yes.
And
Can
this
you
is the
guys type it
question.
in to tell us what you see?
think you see?
What do you see there?
Yeah, let's get everybody fingers moving on this good morning. What do y'all see? What do y'all see? Come on, Miss Probst, Callista, Valia, Marcy, Brother Everlast. What do y'all see?
Yeah, tell
Brother
us what y'all
Charles,
see in
Mr.
this.
John Schamberger. I'm going to give y'all a minute. Tell us, what do you see? And the thing is, because it's your view, you can't be wrong. And regardless of what I see, it's still based on individual thoughts. What do you see first? What do you see second? Do you see anything at all? Do you just see black and white? Come on, somebody got to join in. Come on,
tell
type
us,
in
tell
what you
us
see.
what you see.
We're
Probably
going to give
still
y'all
staring
a
at
second.
it.
But we're talking about optical illusions and how what you see, you may put in something and somebody else going to put in something different. But that is a day-to-day reality, that what I see is not what you see. The good thing is that, life is not too complicated, that most of the time we would see the same things. Thank you, Marcy. Marcy said a face. And that is the first thing that I see when I look at this.
That's the
But
only
just
thing I
like
see.
optical illusions. Thank you, Vicky. That is the first thing that I saw when I looked at this. But then my thought for this is, it looks like a man with black hair and long nose and black. You better go ahead and define it, Callista. See a man's face. Thank you, Miss Mac, Miss Comedy Lady. Thank you. And that's exactly what I saw too when I first looked at this. But then when I looked at it a little deeper, I saw something else. So you can see in this optical illusion, you can see two situations. You can see the face of a man looking up, looking forward, being he's looking. John, you looking for the
I
second
am
image?
too. I'm looking hard.
I'm expecting, I'm going to receive, or you can see the person retreating into the shadow.
Retreating into the shadow?
So if you think of a raincoat, it's a silhouette of the back of a person walking into a shadow. So you don't see it? Holding a bag. So that face image, the face outlet, is the back of someone walking away, and the neck are the legs.
I see it. Oh,
So you could be the one facing forward, hopeful, or you could be the one retreating
My goodness.
into the shadow of this illusion. Then I see, I'm not sure if it's a little man or a child wearing a coat, and we see their back. Yes, that's it. That's it, Miss Mac. That is exactly it. Part of the head seems missing. Yes. So this illusion is something we can find in ourselves. Are you the one being optimistic, looking forward, looking up, moving forward? Or are you the one saying, oh, when this situation comes, I'm going to retreat. I'm going to go into the shadows. I'm going to go into a dark place. Or I'm not going to just deal with this. So you have a face, but then you also have a back. And that's how we go into things every day. Are you going to look forward to it, or are you going to put your back to it? And that's the illusion that we get. That's the optical illusions that we see every day. We have a choice how we feel about something, how we see something, what we're going to do about it. And we got one more picture, but that one, these are the illusions. These are, what do you see? How do you see it? Do you see it as something moving forward or somewhere that you need to turn your back on? Part of the head seems to be missing. Yes, it's that's the whole illusion of it. For you to, kind of see the image, the partial. And that's exactly how we see. We see in frames.
Yeah.
Like every time you blink, you're not seeing anything. So you're taking in images. Every time you open your eyes, you're taking in the image of the scenery and you're processing it. So what do you see here? Come on, talk to us, talk to us, talk to us. We got about 10 more minutes. We're going to try to get some conversation going real quick. 10 minutes. Come on, what do you see? What do you see? Talk to us. What do you see first? What do you see second?
This is a great one.
What do you see?
This is a great one.
What snapshot do you see again? You see your initial image, but then as you continue to gaze on it, you may see other images. So that initial interpretation is how we see life. When we enter into a room, we get an initial interpretation. We get an initial process of the situation. But if we continue to look at it, we might see it in a different way. That's why we always have to be open to hear other people's thoughts, other people's opinions. Because just like these optical illusions, we have our initial image that we see, but as we continue to interact and engage with that image, we see something else. All right, Miss Mac, let's see. It's always like this. I've always liked this one. This is the young woman with her head turned, or the old woman. Yes, 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 yes. This is exactly that image. But at the end of the day, you see your initial image.
Yes.
But then as you continue to engage, you see another image. And this is why we're talking about optical illusions today, because we're going through our life. We get that initial image that is processed. A man with his head down. Well, yeah, some people may say she looked like a man or the man looked like a she. But yeah, and that's the thing, is that depending on how you see it. Like Mr. John, he said, I see a man.
And what this is called is experimental blindness. And the definition is the inability to perceive what you don't already have a concept for. When our experience leads us to incorrect assumptions or interpretations of those feelings, the state of misinterpretation can be due to experimental blindness. So what that means is your brain is trying to make sense and make a connection based on what your experience, your belief, something you've seen before. But once you see the first image, you're like, okay, I see that. Then somebody else has the ability to say, hey, look at this. And then you find it and you're like, oh, now I see it. And that's basically how we go through life. Even if somebody doesn't like somebody, every time you see that somebody, you'll see that person based on that person's view until you get to know that person, and until you go and attempt that new goal, until you go and think about like investing or going back to school. When you first see that thing, your brain is connecting to it based on what it believes it to be, although it really has no knowledge and no connection. But once you're able to shift it and see it a different way, now your brain is able to look at that thing and see it based on your belief system. So the initial part of how we see things when we don't understand it is called experimental blindness. It means that we're just trying to experience it based on what our feelings are, but we really, really don't have clarity on it.
That's good. And we can actually, even though we have optical illusions, we also have the mental illusions. Like, and the Glade candles, they get on my nerves. They had those food flavors, apple pie. I'm like, that's a horrible deception for somebody to walk into your house. You have a Glade apple pie scented candle burning and ain't no apple pies in the oven. I'm like, you know what? I'm leaving because I am mad right now, because when I walked in, I immediately got hungry because I smell apple pies. But now I know that ain't no apple pies. Now I got to go to McDonald's because now I feel like I want apple pies because you messed me up with your Glade candle. But it was an illusion.
It was an illusion.
It was an illusion.
Yes.
Vicky says she sees a tiger head. All right, Vicky. Oh, you better keep seeing then. And as you continue to see, you're gonna start seeing all kinds of stuff.
And that's what the brain does.
That's
The
what the
brain
brain
fights
does.
hard to try to make sense of the world, our external world, and then that transfers into our internal world. So that's what it boils down to.
Woo! All right, y'all. And the whole concept of this conversation today is just to be mindful of how we see things. That our interpretation is our interpretation. Our truth is our truth. And we always want to make sure that we're open to seeing it other ways because, again, our mind is only taking snapshots. And we have our own experiences, the things we've been trained, the things that we go through, things that we deal with are also being added to that snapshot of what we're seeing before we have our final perception of that situation or that thing. And a lot of times it's some of our past things like relationships.
Yeah.
You know what? As soon as he or she don't answer her phone, you go into rage mode because you're thinking about what the last person did when they didn't answer their phone.
Yes.
And we can continue to bring those things into our new present when it's something from the past. So that's why we have to continue to evolve and keep our mind open. So we have about 5 more minutes, so I do want to get our scripture in real quick. So we're actually, instead of reading it all, I'm just going to kind of elaborate on it for the sake of time. So we're going to come from Genesis 3. The text will be coming from 1 through 6. And this is the scripture where Eve is talking to the serpent. And then the serpent's like, hey, what's up, Eve? What's up, homegirl? What you been up to? Chilling in the garden? Okay. And he says to the woman, hath God said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Let's talk about God. Did God tell you that you shouldn't be eating the trees in the garden? Or what did God say to you? And the woman said to the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God said you should not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, or at least you'll die. The serpent said, girl, you tripping. You ain't gonna die. Because God knows that in the day that you eat thereof, you're going to be opened up. You're going to be flying high. You're going to be feeling good. You're going to be the boss and stuff. And you shall know God. You shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And then the woman was like, wait a minute. Woman saw that the tree was good for food. I thought it do look good. And it was pleasant. Oh, that is a pleasant look. It's all shiny and stuff. And then she saw that it was a tree desired to make one wise. She took the fruit thereof, and she did eat, and she gave it also to her husband, and he did eat. And this is what I want us to understand. Don't let anyone make you change your mind about what God has for you. Everybody will not see your goal the way you see your goal. Everybody will not see your dream. First of all, nobody can see your dream. That's your dream. That's the image God put in. That's the image God put into your mind. So nobody else can see your dream. So you cannot always look to people to validate your dream that they cannot see in the first place. And sometimes they'll put their self in your dream, and if they don't fit, they're going to say, oh, no, it's not possible. How does your dream benefit me? Then it's not possible. We have to be mindful that we don't let anyone make us change our mind about what God has for us. So what you have to say is like, oh, sometimes you can share your dream, but you got to be careful who you share your dream with, because we got dream killers out here who will just, and the thing is, they don't mind you coming up. They just don't want you to come up higher than them. So you got to understand that some people will put a limit on you. Oh, no, you're getting too big. So let me push you back down to make themselves feel big. So when they come to you, especially when you know they're not on the right page, they're not giving you the right energy, you say, you know what? I got an idea. And you know what you say? You know what? Hold that thought and keep it to yourself. So that's what you got to say to some people who don't want to see you win. Because sometimes they don't even wear masks no more. Oh, that's you trying to, oh, you know what? That's a nice little business that you got.
A nice little business.
That's a nice little business, girl. You go ahead with your little business.
I like
you
your little
go
house.
ahead.
I
like
your
the little
little
house.
your little house.
Oh, that little car is so nice. That's a new car, 2021. Oh, that little car is
That little
nice.
car is nice.
That's nice. So when you start feeling that energy, you know what? Hold your thought, keep it to yourself, and you move on. Okay, what God has for you, it is for you. It's not for everybody else. The dream that is seen by you first. So don't expect everybody to receive it or agree with it. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. So Christine, hey Miss Barnes, good morning, good morning. And Tyrone, the tent of life is tuned in. All right, good morning, Queens. Thank you, y'all. Thank you so much. This month has been awesome.
Amazing.
And I hope that, we brought some fun and some information just to help you stir up your morning and have a good morning, and be mindful every time you wake up. Good morning. Put it in the air. Put it in the atmosphere. Amen.
Amen.
So this is the end of the show, but I know that this is the end of our month. We just were tuned in for the month of July, but we're going to look into coming back, but just keep an eye out on our pages. We will let you know when we decide to do that or what we decide to do next. But please, please, please continue to enjoy your morning. Speak to it. Speak to it. Set your day up. Set your day up with positive energy, and be around positive people too, because that makes a difference. All right, Stacy, how can people get in contact with you? Because I know Dr. Stacy got her book getting ready to come out and do some good stuff. So put your information out there.
All right, you can find me right there, Stacy Goldmind on Facebook, Goldmind Consultants on Facebook and Instagram, and Dr. Stacy Lloyd on LinkedIn. And that's basically, I'm connected to Amanda, so as I follow her, I'll see you. Have a blessed day.
All right, everybody, have a good morning. Why? Because you can. Peace.